children are very often impacted by that tendency of society to need to affirm ourselves by how somebody else is reacting upon us. As a human, we were born cognitive, and some children are still cognitive. Not all, because you can be impacted by society from a very young age. And some children, if they have the curiosity to actually be and explore near a horse, that is actually so valuable, because that means that you can be yourself, be interested to someone else, but not needing that someone else to do something precise to make you feel happy. So you can also be exploring something on the ground, having a horse smell your head, but then continue while the horse also continue to do something else. It doesn't have to take 10 minutes of exploring affirmation to feel that there is a good relationship. It can be a split second. We need to be able to enjoy that moment and go back to experience something on our own, to be more emancipated actually in the relationship. And this is something both for human as for horses. I once had a young girl, she was really very young, she was 3 years old. And her parents were proud because she was very verbal, good in verbalizing. As a matter of fact, when she came and we were in a natural reserve area in the south of Italy, and she came and she saw the horses living with us in the distance, and she yelled out, 3 years old, with a diaper, she yelled out, "I want to ride the white horse," which is quite big. And I was like, so what is this? Because that is not an intrinsic motivation of that little girl. It is an image that she recognizes and that she expresses in that moment. What we did, the horses were far away, we went to explore actually the surroundings. And she discovered flowers that were, specific flowers, I don't know their name, but they were bigger than that she was. So she was exploring and discovering the sense of height. And she started to go on her knees and actually explore her surroundings, getting information from her surroundings. Not an abstract idea of whatever is out there, but real information that she could elaborate. And a little bit afterwards, the horses actually came curious to see what we were experiencing and doing, and they walked around us, and she didn't even look up anymore. Which is also logical, because the horses from her point of view were huge, almost too big to really understand from real information. So and that is, for that girl, the real experience was discovering the ground, exploring and discovering where the horses had walked. That is the information that really is something she could experience. But what we do, because as human adults, we don't know what to do anymore. So we tend to create something. So we tend to create, let's put her on the horse. But being put on a horse, okay, you can do that. And she can sit on the horse, but it's not a real experience, because it's too much information. If you're still busy with discovering that in the world there exist flowers bigger than you, then you can imagine that sitting on a huge horse, that's not a real experience. You can really elaborate that. You can undergo it, but you can't really experience it. This is simply because it's really the only image we have when it comes to getting to know a horse. A little girl being busy somewhere on the ground, being curious to a horse, but being able to have her own experience. You, as an adult, can also be curious to what the girl is living in that moment. You don't have to prove anything. You definitely don't have to use another animal to create an experience, because the experience is already there. We only have to understand, as adults again, what is going on. And you can also explore somebody's hair. And you can link to whatever is going on in that dimension. allowing a horse to be just as an active participant and just as emancipated as everybody else in that situation. So then you actually create space for shared experiences, for to be the curiosity of a horse towards somebody's hair can also trigger your curiosity. Of course, for a lot of people that will kind of sound strange, but it's not so strange because it's facilitating also a more intimate experience where everybody actually can be himself together in that situation.
When I was a child, I was fascinated from the adventure, from the frontier, from the exploration. And as a child, I watched to the other animals as a companion in adventures. So for me, the wild is a scenario to make some adventure together, not necessarily riding horses, for example, but make walking with horses. And generally, when here come children, I immediately move with them in an adventure dimension, in which the horse become a companion as a sort of explorer of 2 centuries ago, for example in North America or in Canada or in other more wild countries. So with that child you move towards following an intrinsic motivation to the exploration, because also a horse, if you go in another side with your group of horses or with your horse, first they begin to eat in the new paddock, but after 5-10 minutes of it, the new grass for example, they begin to explore the new context a lot, because it's crucial for them explore. So also for children it's important explore the world, because children, they born as cognitive animal. Then education and training for humans reduce that desire to explore the life. And so we become a sort of soldier moved from a side to another, from someone or from society. So it's important for me that a child become owner of his own desire of exploration, in which you preserve his own desire of exploration. Adele, as a child, is born in a society, and she make school in a typical school of this society in which we live. For Adele, have a rope with a horse on a side sometimes should be embarrassing, a sort, I don't know what I have to do now. So I give the inspiration to follow the adventure. In that situation you move with the horse, and also the horse open the eyes on the other part. A lot of horses that live in the equestrian industry, they look only there, look only on the hooves. It's difficult to see a horse that watch in that situation. So also for children it's really important that to give them a feeling of proud, to be proud of his own animality, of his own cognitive skills.